Evening. At this time, we're going to start the public scoping meeting for the Platform Holly Decommissioning Project Environmental Impact Report. It is February 19th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Welcome and thank you all for coming. We appreciate your interest in the environmental review of this project. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that the project areas are located on the traditional territory and homelands of the Chumash people. Since time immemorial, the Chumash have lived on this coast and fish these waters in a relationship of balance and sustainability. Through informed, intentional action, we demonstrate our respect for our ongoing trust relationship with the Chumash, who are essential stewardship partners of the state's lands and resources. My name is Christine Day. I'm a senior environmental scientist with the State Lands Commission, Division of Environmental Science, Planning and Management, and will be overseeing the preparation of the Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. With me today is Joseph Fable, Senior Attorney with the California State Lands Commission, as well as Simon Poulter, Jennifer Layton, and Margarita McInnes with Padre Associates, the consultant retained for this project. First, I'd like to go over a few logistics and details. There are sign-in sheets available at the front so we can have a complete record of meeting attendance and so that you can be added to our mailing list to receive notices regarding the EIR. We have speaker slips on the table next to the front door for those who would like to speak on the scope and content of the proposed EIR. The slips can also be used to provide brief written comments on the back of the form. You can also email or mail your comments to the address in the notice of preparation. Additional copies of the NOP are also available in the front. The notice of preparation does state that the comment period closes on February 23rd, 2026. However, the State Lands Commission has extended the comment period from 30 days to 45 days. The 45-day comment period will end on March 6, 2026. Next slide, please. I will now go over how we will conduct this hybrid Zoom meeting. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All virtual attendees will be muted during the presentation. At the end of the presentation, if you want to provide verbal comments, you will need to raise your hand in Zoom. If calling into the meeting from a telephone, you will use *9 to raise or lower your hand. Once your hand is raised and it is your turn to speak, we will unmute you, announce your name, and you will be able to make your public comment. Depending on how you have called in, you may also need to unmute yourself on your device. We will be calling on in-person attendees first. Once we have completed in-person comments, we will take comments from those on Zoom in the order that their hands were raised. A speaker's time allotment is going to be 3 minutes. If you are on Zoom, then after your public comment, your hand will be lowered and you will be placed back on mute. In addition, please be aware that the entire meeting is being recorded. Next slide, please. The meeting agenda will consist of introduction and meeting purpose, background and proposed project description, the CEQA process, public comments, followed by the close of the meeting. This is the second of 2 sessions. If you already spoke or submitted comments at the first session, you do not need to speak again unless you would like to make a new comment. The staff presentation will be the same as provided during the afternoon meeting. Next slide, please. The purpose of this meeting is to obtain agency, tribal, and public input and comment on the scope of the issues and analysis the State Lands Commission should consider in the project Environmental Impact Report. All oral comments presented today will be recorded in the transcript and joined with written comments to inform the Commissioner's analysis of the project. Next slide, please. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Joe to provide some background information about Platform Holly, as well as the proposed project and project alternatives.
Great. Thank you, Christine. Platform Holly was built by the Atlantic Richfield Company in 1966 to develop the South Elwood oil field. The platform sits in 211 feet of water in an active natural oil seep field 2 miles off Goleta. In the early 1980s, ARCO installed 2 large seep tents 1 mile west of the platform to capture large concentrations of seep gas. Beneco purchased the South Elwood field operations in 1997 and operated Platform Holly until it declared bankruptcy and deserted the facility in 2017. Utilizing its police power authorities, the Commission assumed control of operations and, in partnership with Exxon, permanently plugged the platform's 30 wells in late 2024. The platform is no longer capable of oil and gas production and is in a caretaker status pending approval of a project to decommission the facility. Next slide, please. The objectives of the Platform Holly Decommissioning Project are the permanent decommissioning of Platform Holly, its associated infrastructure, and the removal of pipelines and conduits crossing Haskell's Beach to eliminate impairment to public access. Next slide. As proposed, the final disposition of project components would include full removal of Platform Holly with excavation to 5 feet below the mudline, partial removal of the shell mounds within the immediate footprint of the platform jacket, full removal of the 4 pipelines and 2 power cables, removal of 2 seep tents with its associated gas lines, and transport of recovered materials to receiving facilities for recycling and disposal. Next slide, please. As part of the plug and abandonment process, all oil production and treatment equipment was removed from the platform in 2024, and the facility is decoupled from shore-based electricity. Although unstaffed, the facility is inspected bi-monthly to ensure navigational safety equipment is operational. During periods of winter beach and sand erosion, the oil, gas, and water lines from Holly to shore are exposed crossing Haskell's Beach. The pipelines have been thoroughly cleaned and flushed to ensure they are hydrocarbon-free. Next slide, please. In addition to the proposed project, the EIR will also analyze a partial platform removal option and a no project alternative. Identification and refinement of alternatives will continue through the preparation of the EIR and may include those identified during discussions with various stakeholders, alternatives that address potentially significant impacts identified in the EIR analysis, as well as alternatives that will be identified during the public scoping period. Next slide, please. Alternatives that may be chosen for consideration in the EIR are those that meet most project objectives, are feasible, and capable of reducing 1 or more significant impacts to the project. Next slide, please. With that, I'll pass it back to Christine.
Thank you. As this diagram shows, the standard environmental review process under CEQA involves a scoping period that we are currently in. This scoping period was initiated upon the release of the Notice of Preparation on January 23, 2026. The intent of the scoping period is to help inform Commission staff as preparers of the EIR of potential issues as well as potential alternatives that should be addressed in the EIR. Once the scoping period is over, we will prepare a draft EIR that, once completed, will be released for public review. During the public review period for the draft EIR, we will ask for public, agency, and tribal comments on the results of the analysis. The comments will then be used to finalize the EIR, which will be presented to the State Lands Commission for certification during a public meeting. At the same meeting, the Commission will consider approving a final project for implementation. There will be 2 more formal opportunities to provide comments on the project. Next slide, please. After the scoping meeting today, there will still be time to submit comments on the Notice of Preparation through March 6, 2026. After that, Commission staff will start the preparation of the draft EIR. We tentatively plan to release the draft EIR at the end of this calendar year for a 60-day public review period. Our goal is to bring the final EIR to the Commission for consideration during the first half of 2027. Next slide, please. Listed here are the environmental impacts that will be analyzed in the EIR for the proposed project and the project alternatives. Environmental resource areas that would not be analyzed in the EIR include agriculture and forestry, energy, mineral resources, population and housing, public services, utilities and service systems, and wildfire. Next slide, please. Several surveys and technical studies were prepared to support the impact analysis for the EIR. The surveys and studies will be included as appendices to the EIR. These studies include bathymetric geotechnical ROV. This is a multi-beam echo sounder survey obtained information about bathymetric or seafloor contours and bathymetry water depths of the entire offshore site, including maps of the seafloor within the project's seafloor boundaries. It also includes terrestrial contours at the shoreline. In addition, a sub-bottom profiler survey was done on the pipeline and power cable alignments to pinpoint the horizontal and vertical positions of all the utilities. Lastly, a remotely operated vehicle, or ROV, video survey was conducted on the exposed section of the pipelines and power cables. The marine biological survey and evaluation was done in coordination with the University of California, Santa Barbara. This study was prepared to characterize surveyed habitats and conduct an assessment of the fishes and other animals that inhabit Platform Holly. The Marine Cultural Resource Assessment was prepared to assess the potential for marine cultural resources to be present within the project study area. The Historical Resources Evaluation was prepared to assess potential historical resources within the project study area. The Fisheries Report was prepared to assess the potential impacts from the decommissioning of Platform Holly to the commercial fishing industry. And the project execution plan was prepared to describe how the proposed project would be executed. Next slide, please. The notice of preparation initiated the process to solicit comments regarding the scope and content of the EIR. The Commission is not taking any action on the project today, nor is the Commission preparing this EIR in order to either support or oppose any actions or potential approvals by other regulatory agencies. We will now open up for comments on the scope and content of the draft EIR. Staff will not be responding to comments at this time unless there is a question regarding process. The testimony we are interested in receiving involves the proposed project's range of actions, project alternatives, mitigation measures, and significant effects to be analyzed in depth in the environmental document. Please try to limit your testimony to 3 minutes and to these issues. The comments will be recorded, so please speak as clearly as possible. Your comments will become part of the administrative record. We will now start with those who are attending in person and have filed the speaker slips. Then we will move on to those on the Zoom. Okay. And our first speaker is Tom Raftikin. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly.
Howdy. My name is Tom Raftigan from United Anglers and Sport Fishing Conservancy, and I'm here just to speak in support of partial removal of the structure. I was one of the original sponsors of the legislation back 16 years ago that allows for partial decommissioning. And one thing I want to mention about that is that the people that spoke on behalf of it at the time of the bill was passed included the Ocean Conservancy, the Nature Conservancy, Oceana, and the Monterey Bay Aquarium. They were all there in support of that legislation. The Southern California Bight, you look from Point Conception down to the Mexican border, is well over 90% soft strata. The seafloor is flat, it's mud and sand. Hard strata is very, very valuable out there. High relief hard strata is extremely valuable out there. There's so little of it. Platform Holly is one of those places that would have high relief strata. That's really what I say is we support partial removal. And one way to look at it is take a look at the net environmental benefit. That's actually the language that's in the decommissioning legislation. And if it makes more sense to leave this in place, let's leave it in place. And the other thing I would say is when you look for guidance on this, go to the scientists and not the lawyers. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is William Toma.
Good evening. My name is Bill Toman. I'm the energy manager at Vandenberg Space Force Base, and I'm here tonight really just to monitor the process for decommissioning Platform Holly. There are 4 offshore platforms offshore Vandenberg, and so this is relevant information for us to be aware of, as eventually all of these platforms are going to be decommissioned in some fashion. I have a quick question, and maybe just a look up on your documents on your webpage, but do you have any estimated costs of the decommissioning of Holly?
We probably answer that. We no cost right now. So generally under an agreement, Exxon will be removing the platform at its expense. So generally we don't have an estimate of what that would be right now.
Will that be made available at some point?
I do not know. Because generally, again, that's not a cost.
Can I leave that as a question?
What was that, sorry?
Can I leave that as a question? As will there be a cost estimate generated for the removal?
I mean, you can leave that as a comment. That's something we can consider, but we don't have that information right now. We just can't provide that. We don't.
Okay. And then it may be in the documentation, but what's the approximate weight of Platform Holly? How many tons of steel?
We're going to provide that information in the EIR, but I don't have it readily available tonight.
I appreciate it. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker actually didn't leave their name on the speaker slip, so I don't know if this looks familiar to you. You are the next speaker.
Christine, I think they may have just wanted to be added to the mailing list.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other speakers? Possibly. I'm not. Okay. Thank you.
All right, my name is Kevin Barthel, and I've lived in Goleta now 64 years, and I've spent a lot of time walking the beaches of Goleta and fishing on Platform Holly in the late 70s and 80s. We used to catch a lot of bocasio out there, which is now a rare fish. So that platform has turned in, now we're talking 40 years later, it's now got barnacles that are 6 foot around. So I agree with everything Mr. Rafkin just said, that save that at least below the water line as a reef. And what I would like to hear, I know you guys don't have the money figured out yet, but rather than death by 1,000 knife cuts trying to kill Exxon or whoever's paying this bill, figure out how much it would cost to take the whole thing out and then put that money in the bank. And let's use that money to try to figure out how to eliminate the oil leaks that leak on the natural seeps out here. We get all upset about oil releases from pipelines, but the biggest natural disaster we hear is Mother Nature. Anywhere from 10 to 100 barrels a day come leaking out. And when the wind blows, it goes out. When the wind doesn't blow, it comes on the beach. And I can tell you in the last few years, there's a lot more oil on the beach because nobody's producing those seep tents. So I recommend not removing the seep tents, taking that money that would be spent to take the whole structure out and hire or figure out a way to go and produce that oil, take that oil off the seep tents. Because just a gallon of oil will be, mile square foot slick. So I'm looking for practical solutions rather than just instead of death by 1,000 knife cuts, going after Exxon or whoever the old Veneco people were over the years. So yes, I support the no removal or partial removal, and I think you should leave the seep tents in place and let some smart people, even me, I could figure it out. I'm a mechanical engineer. I've worked offshore for 30 years, not as a driller, but as an equipment person. We build equipment, a lot of big cranes and a lot of big things, putting in anything from wind towers to bridges to rigs. So we can do it, but there needs to be some funding for it. And if we do care about our environment here, which I know the people that are trying to take the rig out completely, that they do care, let's find a way to clean up the oil, or at least produce it somehow, or minimize the amount of oil that ends up on the beaches around here. I don't know if any of this document, I haven't read the whole thing, but I don't know if you've addressed that at all. But there are several professors. Bruce Lyondike out at UC Santa Barbara has done it over the years, studied how much oil seeps out there. And I think there was a study actually done by Veneco a couple of years back that I saw online a couple of days ago that basically was showing how much they were able to take off the surface of the ocean by producing the seep tent. So I'll submit written comments as well, but I'd like you guys to consider that before we just go and wipe the whole thing out. Save that money for something more useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Now that we are done with in-person speakers, we will move on to the Zoom. Margarita will remind how the Zoom works, and then we will take the first comment.
So yeah, we will now be moving on to public comment from our Zoom participants. If you have public comment, please use the raise hand feature located at the bottom of your screen, and we will call on you in the order in which you raise your hand. If you are calling in using a telephone number, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Our first speaker is Ryan Davis. Please unmute yourself. You will have 3 minutes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Apologies, I don't have the ability to work with my camera because the bandwidth is not very good. I'm here at the Central Sierra Central Sierra Aquatic Research Lab, and I'm doing some remote work related to sensing networks. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Ryan Davis. I'm a former active duty Marine undergraduate geography researcher at UC Berkeley, resident of Santa Barbara, and founder of America's Green Corps Lab Ranch. So we are a UC Berkeley and Santa Barbara-based research and development group that's focused on improving public safety and mitigating global warming weather-related losses through the advancement of weather networks that improve terrestrial modeling and support better early warning. So this is a key component of our group's mission to create better fire and flood detection tools in support of the Early Warning for All UN initiative, started several years ago. So America's Green Corps began researching a way to repurpose Platform Holly for a marine-based lab space that supports marine fire weather research and allows the several metric tons of marine biology and 45 to 50 fish species that have made Holly its home. The chance to keep on reefing. We really think that it's an important component of repurposing Holly, is to allow the reef to continue to grow in whatever fashion. So we named the project the Green Lighthouse, and it is the pilot project that helped us grow our core team and the technology needed for the success of our scientific research and early warning mission at Holly, which we have defined in recent events simply as an HD infrared thermal camera, an environmental weather sensor that contributes to California's geodata network and the monitoring of the area around Holly throughout the CEQA process. So the aquaculture component of Holly could become the seed for reef and aquaculture research to help filter and oxygenate the water has also been a big component of our research, which has been followed by the Blue Latitude's Rigs to Reef course of action and received hundreds of signatures of support. The continuation of the Green Lighthouse pilot project is contingent upon the Goleta community, the California State Lands Commission, the University of California, and the Santa Barbara County Fire Department's cooperation for a lease with America's Green Corps' research plan outlined in our Big Ideas document and the presentation shared publicly at the Santa Barbara and Ventura Maritime Museums and in previous State Lands Commission hearings, as well as the Goleta Rotary Club, who honored us by hosting a theoretical future for a non-operational oil platform. We're asking for NOAA to contribute support for the lease application, for which we, the supporters of the Green Lighthouse pilot project, are seeking Goleta City Hall's approval for a new marine fire weather watch camera and environmental sensor that observes coastal atmospheric river weather patterns, expected to be more frequent in the coming years. So As the eyes and ears, the research station at Holly will observe all types of marine fire weather variables and can monitor outputs of the local SEEPs going beyond 4 years of post-tent removal or any other CEQA process. As Holly is said by maintenance experts to be capable of standing for 50 years, we are seeking a 4-year interim research period that spans now and until the time of Platform Holly's removal or any reefing steps are needed to take place. So just to reiterate, America's Green Corps asked for a 4-year interim period before any removal of Platform Holly take place so that a fire weather camera research site and LiDAR environmental sensor can be integrated onto Holly to support monitoring for CEQA and local early warning networks. So our agency team is seeking NOAA's research support for a co-leasing agreement that covers no less than 10 years of support on Platform Holly and would allow us reasonable amount of time to conduct marine fire weather research from Holly and the chance to participate in environmental monitoring of the seeps that still abound Holly to this day. We think it's advisable to do this from now beyond tent removal or any other parts of the CEQA process for both scientific purposes and for the benefit of the public good and early warning. So we recommend, again, using Holly for science and research that follows in the footsteps of sites like the University of California's Central Sierra Snow Lab, except for this would be a marine science lab. We want to do this for as long as possible. However, should partial removal take place, we recommend that the structure be transplanted in pieces locally along Gaviota's coast to help grow reef that aids in mitigating coastal erosion and fishery enhancement. I don't think I should take up much more time. We have a little bit more to say, and it will be in the document that's included for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Nikki Talebi. You will have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Nikki Talebi, and I'm representing UCSB's Environmental Affairs Board. I want to start by saying thank you to the State Lands Commission for putting together an EIR, and I just want to express my deep concern for the potential of this platform's toxic debris to cause public safety harm, as well as harm to the surrounding threatened species, which is likely to occur if the toxic materials are not fully removed. I ask that the oil industry restore the area fully and carefully removing shells and debris on the seafloor. So please consider all potential impacts because they will be visible if they're not taken lightly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Vivian Chankai. You will have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Thank you for taking my comment. My name is Vivian Chankai, and I'm an advocacy co-chair for UCSB's Environmental Affairs Board. As a longtime environmental advocate, thank you to the State Lands Commission for preparing an environmental impact report to decommission Platform Holly. This removal would set a precedent for oil platform decommissioning throughout the state, and it's important that the oil industry remove their equipment because of what it represents both ecologically and for the image of Santa Barbara. I ask that you consider all potential impacts with the partial removal alternative, such as impacts caused by leaving toxic debris on the seafloor, introduction of invasive species, and risks to public safety. I urge you to support the identification of the proposed project, which includes the full removal of the platforms, including the shells and debris on the seafloor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Aiden Maestas. You will have 3 minutes.
My name is Aiden Maestas. I'm a second-year student at UC Santa Barbara. And first, I'd like to thank the commission for allowing me to speak and having this public hearing. And I would like to show my support for the full decommission, the full removal of Platform Holly. I think I would like to reiterate what the two past speakers have said, and that the toxins at the bottom on the mound of this platform are really concerning. And even if we were to have a rig to reef situation that doesn't address the toxins on the bottom, I believe that that doesn't help the long-term sustainability of the ecosystem and in fact can jeopardize the ecosystem. So I would like the commission to look into how they're going to address these toxins and how they're going to address the marine life that is existing there. I do sympathize with the people who are concerned for the marine life that is on the reef, but I would like the commission to look into alternatives to just displacing these marine life and to find a way to relocate or restore them in another area. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Izzy Sistek. You will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for your time. And I also wanted to echo the past 3 speakers. I am a UCSB student. I'm also with the Environmental Affairs Board at UCSB. So thank you for preparing a thorough EIR and for identifying a project alternative that includes partial and full removal of Platform Holly. A comprehensive review of impacts is essential to protecting our coast and ensuring responsible decision-making. The oil industry should be held accountable for fully removing its infrastructure, cleaning up the impacts of past operations, and restoring the marine environment as close as possible to its pre-lease condition. Leaving equipment or contamination behind shifts long-term environmental and safety risks onto the public and future generations. I also urge careful consideration of the potential impacts associated with partial removal alternatives. Leaving toxic debris on the seafloor could harm marine ecosystems, contribute to the spread of invasive species, and create ongoing risk to public safety. Full removal of and proper site restoration will help us clear the path toward environmental protection and accountability. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. If anyone else on Zoom would like to provide public comment, please raise your hand. Okay, our next speaker is Alex Alcantar. You will have 3 minutes.
Alex, if you could unmute yourself on your end, we might be able to hear you then. Oh.
At this time, we have no other speakers on Zoom, so I don't know if we want to move on.
Yes, next slide, please. Okay. As we wrap up, just a reminder that written comments must be received by Friday, March 6, 2026. This slide details how to submit your comments to commission staff. This information is also provided in the notice of preparation, copies of which are located in the front. As a reminder, the notice of preparation does state that the comment period closes on February 23rd, 2026, but the State Lands Commission has extended the comment period until March 6th. Next slide, please. This concludes the second of 2 sessions of the scoping meeting. Thank you for coming. The meeting is now adjourned.